throw the bowl. Yeah. He says, look
that's
at
real
it.
simple.
That is, yeah. He said, I was attached to even my bowl. Look at the birds. You know, if Krishna
Well,
arranged
that's like a
hand.
bowl, right? The
Yeah.
hands bowl.
It's these two hands is called Anjali.
Yeah.
How much you can fit in these two hands, you should eat. You should not eat more than that.
Yeah.
Whatever you can fit in
and
there.
that's like the size of the stomach.
Yeah, that's right.
Fit in your palm,
Yeah, that's right. But we eat like a...
Stops you from overeating.
That's right. We eat like a horse, you know, when the prasadam comes non-stop. At the moment, there's the, you know, the Chatur Akshtam, what do you call that? And we got a chef, he cooked that his meal. You know, it's like a broken rice and some vegetable and just boil it. It's very simple and a little bit of ghee. So I had my meal, one roti and sabji, and along with his meal as well. So you see how greedy I am? That's not good. But he just making very nice and very light. You know, they're making that, in temple as well, that the pujari, they follow that. They cook only in the ghee and then not much spices, just a little bit of salt. And then that's very nice, very healthy, nice, light. After even lunch, you don't feel like you have lunch, you know, it's just very light.
Yeah, that's mode of goodness.
Yes, that's right. Yes, so I eat mine as well as them. Oh well, it's all right. Nice. Human nature is greedy. That's why all the inventions happens. Yeah. If we're not greedy, then we.
But at least being greedy for prasadam means being greedy for Krishna. So that's good.
Prasadam is okay, but you got to look at it. I was listening today that I'm Vata, and Vata, what's the Vata's quality and what we should eat, what we should. I tell you that Prabhuji, that lady, she has got Shastra Praman, like from the scriptures, she's telling that in a Sanskrit and then in Hindi, what to eat and what not. Like, you know, I was very impressed. But that's only in Hindi. Jayanti can listen that about the Ayurveda. Very, very nice knowledge. I'll forward it to you.
Sure, that would be good. And we're still going to forward you that information.
Yeah, no, actually, I spoke to them. Last night I called them. I got the phone number from Chitru.
Oh, Swaitaranya.
Yeah, the Dr. Trivandrum Vikram.
Yeah, that's
something.
Her.
Yeah,
Yep.
I called him yesterday, and then I said, "Have you got some spots in October?" He said, "Yeah, we do." I said, "Okay, let me confirm with Brett. So with my time off, and then I'll tell you." I was asking, like, you know, what he said, minimum 14 days. It can be 21, but you know, give and take at least 14, 15 days. We need it to be any treatment. So I said, okay. So I'll definitely will go end of October. So Bhakti Mala and they're going in end of November. So I was asking, like, you know, if Bhakti Mala and Kalya Prabhu wants to go in the Kartik, I said, if you go in the Kartik, I can go after Kartik. That's okay. Well, my treatment doesn't really be Kartik, you know, season. But he said, no, we're going to go after Kartik. So I said, okay, I'll go in Kartik then. Okay. So I'll go there and then Rath Yatra in Puri. I'm going to attend that one. And then for a month. And then I'll come back and then Bhakti Mala will go and I'll cover her shift in the Bhakti tree. Whatever shifts she have got that. So it's okay.
Very good. Very good.
I'm going to go in October, hopefully.
Okay, let's get into it. By offering respect to the spiritual master.
Yes.
Om
Jnanam Tirmandasya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvai Namah. I was born in darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisance unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Oi. Okay, so we're continuing our reading of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, which is in
knowledge of absolute.
Yep, knowledge of the absolute.
21.
Text number 21. 21. So just recapping where we've covered up to. So it was talking about how some living entities go down the path of slowly getting knowledge, life after life, and at the end of that, when their knowledge is full, they surrender to the Lord. And there's others that don't have that knowledge; they're in ignorance, and they go down the path of just trying to fulfill temporary material desires. So many desires are coming out of our mind. So that's their ambition, is just to try to enjoy, get happiness from fulfilling their material desires. And in order to get what they want, many of them worship demigods if they have a little bit of knowledge that there are higher authorities, controllers in the universe, and they're very powerful and they can fulfill people's desires. So they hear about these demigods and they approach them, to do some particular worship to try to please them. And then when the demigods please, the idea is the demigod will give them what they want, whether it's they want wealth or they want a partner or a successful business or a big position or whatever it is, good health or different things. So we're looking at that, and that was where we're up to. So this one is text 21. We can read the Sanskrit. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhakta.
Yo yam tanu bhakta.
Shraddhaya chitumachati.
Shraddhaya chitumachati.
Tasya chalam shraddham.
Tasya chalam shraddham.
Tam eva vidadhamyaham.
Tameva vidadhayaham.
Yeah, I'll read that last one again. Tameva vidadhamyaham.
Tameva vidadhyaham. Bit of mouthful.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Bob, would you like to read the translation, please?
I am in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity.
Okay, so who's the I? The I is obviously Krishna.
Krishna.
So this is Krishna speaking to Arjuna, and Krishna is saying that not only is he the person standing before Arjuna having a conversation with him, but he's also in everyone's heart. So as we've talked about many times, God has three features. So one feature is the supreme person, Bhagavan. So that's Krishna speaking to Arjuna here. But also he has another feature, Paramatma, the super soul. And that feature, God expands into the heart of every living entity. And it's even in the Vedas explains not only the heart of every living entity, but even within the atom. The smallest element we know of is the atom. So even the super soul is even within the atom. And then there's the third feature is Brahman. That means there's an all-pervading energy everywhere. So that just like the sunlight is everywhere, and that Brahman, spiritual energy, doesn't have a form. So it's energy, it doesn't have a form. But the other two features, Paramatma, have a form. So Paramatma has a form with like this form. The only difference is, of course, well, it's spiritual, of course, and but it has 4 arms. So Paramatma, the super soul in the heart, has 4 arms. Krishna usually has 2 arms. Sometimes he displays more arms, but those forms are generally regarded as called Vasudeva Krishna. So if you see a form of Krishna that has 4 arms, then technically that would be called Vasudeva Krishna. But Krishna in Vrindavan normally just displayed 2 arms like that. So Bhagavan, God, has a form, and Paramatma has a form, and the Brahman is just all-pervading energy. So these are 3 different features. So this verse is talking about the second feature, Paramatma, the super soul. The super soul. And what is it saying here? So the super soul, Krishna is saying, I am in everyone's heart is the super soul. And as soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. So the previous verse said that some people desire to worship demigods to fulfill their material desires. So this verse is saying a little bit more about that subject, that okay, they worship the demigods, and then that Krishna himself gives them faith. So where does some people have very strong faith in Lord Shiva, or they have very strong faith in Durga, very strong faith in Ganesh, like that, very strong faith in Hanuman, like that. So people have faith. Everyone has faith, right? There's no one that doesn't have faith. But where does that faith come from that we have in some particular thing? People have a lot of faith maybe in some politicians, right? I have a lot of faith in our Prime Minister. He's the best, he's the greatest, or whatever like that. So where does that faith come from? Or they have faith in some pop star, music star, some Bollywood, Hollywood star, or some sports celebrity. We have our local, rugby, football champion, soccer champion, or whatever like that, cricket player or whatever. We have a lot of faith. So everyone has faith in someone. So where does that faith come from? Here it's revealed that it's Krishna in the heart, the super soul, that gives us that faith that we have in another. And why would Krishna give us faith in someone other than himself? You'd think, well, why doesn't Krishna just give us faith in him, in God? Why does he give us faith in someone other than God? What do you think? Any thoughts on that?
Because through them, we have to go to Krishna through them, regardless. Like, if you have got the faith in a demigod, from the demigod you can go to Krishna as well.
Well, I mean, by worshipping the demigod, I mean indirectly you're worshipping Krishna, because the demigod is part of Krishna, but that's not the question.
Okay.
I mean, that's true.
And that's a Krishna's energy. Demigod's also Krishna's energy.
Directly through the demigod, but that's not the question. But why would Krishna give somebody faith in somebody else? Why not? Why wouldn't he just give everyone faith in him?
Mention in the text only, because it's their choice.
Giant is saying that Krishna doesn't interfere with the living entity's free choice. Their independence. Okay. Gives independence. If he made everyone have faith in him only, then where's the freedom? Where's the independence? We'd be like robots. Okay, everyone has to have faith in Krishna, and we're programmed. Krishna programs us all that we're all just going to have full faith in him and serve him and surrender to him. No, but he doesn't do that. He doesn't force. Krishna doesn't force us to just love him. If we want to love someone else or worship someone else or serve someone else, he says, okay, you love that girl or that celebrity or that politician or whatever, or that demigod. Okay, I'll make your faith really strong. I'll give you really strong faith in that person so that you can devote yourself to them and worship them and everything like that. So that's amazing. So it means he's not attached. He's not attached to having us all serve him. Because if he was attached, obviously he'd make us all serve him. He's going to have unlimited people serving him. No, but he's not attached to that. He wants the best for us, and he wants that love to come, naturally from us.
So whoever got a faith in Krishna, so Krishna give us the strength and free will to get a more faith in Krishna. Then, like us, we talking like we have faith in Krishna, and we go to temple and deity worship. So Krishna give us this is our free will. We have got to be either we can go to the mosque or we can go to a temple. We choose to go to a temple, and then so Krishna will give you strength to fulfill our desire. Is it? Because if you free will, like with the other cases, if you be God,
it's the way it's explained here. It's that first thing is the individual soul has to come out with their own personal desire. What do you want? You know, Krishna wants to see that. Well, what do you desire, Gulshan? What do you desire, Bob? And then when you make your desire, okay, I want to worship this demigod, then he'll strengthen your faith in that, having that relationship with that particular person.
but what happens if somebody is born in the devotee's family? He's got to be straight away faith in the Krishna because he's seen in the parents, and he's got, so Krishna helped that too.
No, there's a good opportunity, but it's not automatic. I mean, for example, I have 2 kids, but they're not consciously devoted to Krishna. But something is there in their hearts. I mean, they've all have some memory of Krishna consciousness and that there, but they're not consciously. They have other desires. Obviously, they have other desires. So Krishna's giving them faith in other things. You know, like my son, he has a lot of desires in making computer games. So Krishna's given him faith in that. If I make computer games, I'm going to be happy. You know, because that's what it is. You know, that you have faith that if I do this, you know, particular activity, or if I have this relationship with this particular person or demigod or whatever, that's going to make me happy. I mean, what's our faith? Our faith is that if I serve Krishna, all my desires are going to be fulfilled. I'm going to be completely perfect. My life is going to be completely successful, completely perfect. All my desires are going to be filled just by surrendering to Krishna, by serving Krishna, by doing devotional service. So that's faith. We have that faith, that by serving Krishna, all of our desires for happiness and perfection and peace and everything are going to get fulfilled. But someone has differently faith that if I, you know, make computer games, my life's going to be successful and perfect. Or if I worship Lord Shiva, my life's going to be successful and perfect. You know, so, but that principle of faith that everyone has. But the point is, you know, what are you going to have faith in? Like that. So Krishna's going to help us develop faith according to whatever we want. So first of all, he wants to see what do you guys want, and then he'll help you to.
And then it belongs to the past karma as well. Like Prahlad Maharaj, he's got straight faith in very young age. Must be with the past karma.
Yeah.
There must be the past karma involved as well. Yeah. I came in the age of 48.
But that's still okay. So you're saying what I'm getting now, experiencing now, is because of my past desires, you know, my past activities. But those activities are coming from, you know, your desires. You know, because you desire something, then you act, right? Why do you act? Why do you do an action? Because you have some desire to do that. You have a desire to do that. So what is happening? Okay, due to our past actions and the desires that we had, we have this current situation. But according to the desires now that we have today, is going to, from those desires that we have today, is going to create activities that's going to create our future destiny.
Yeah.
So our destiny, our future life, is created by what we want now, by what we're desiring now. And what we're experiencing now is because of our past desires and the activities that we did following on from those desires, like that. But it's starting from the mind, means you have a thought, you have a desire, and then you have feelings that go with that, and then you will it to happen, and then it comes into action. You know, and those actions, you know, they have reactions.
Some people have the desire in very early age. Some people desire come in the middle age. Some people that desire comes at end of the age. You know,
I mean, desires are always there from beginning to end. But what kind of desires? What are you saying?
I'm saying the Krishna consciousness. Some people, they were getting a desire of that in very early age. Some they come in later, middle of the age. Some they come in end of that.
Yeah.
And some they come never.
So yeah, it's coming from desires, but our desires are molded a lot by what? Well, what influences our desires, what we want?
Well, it depends which way we're looking at. Like, 10 years ago.
Are we influenced by external things or not?
Yes, association makes a big difference.
Yeah. You said it, association. So
yeah, makes a big difference. Yes.
Sangha. So according to the Sangha you have, that's why we use the word satsanga or sadhu sangha. Satsanga. Oh, well, we're going to go and to have some satsanga this weekend. That means like good association with like spiritual minded people. We say satsanga. Oh, I'm not going to go to that party because that party because that's asatsanga. Asat means bad association. Sat means like eternal or good, and asat means like temporary or bad, like that. And sangha means association. So, if you went to the pub and the casino and like that, then that's asat sangha. But in that will influence your desires. That like if you associate with a gambler, it's likely you'll become a gambler. If you associate with a drug addict, it's likely you'll become a drug addict. If you associate with someone like Prabhupada, I mean, you won't become Prabhupada, but you can become like Prabhupada.
Saintly, yes.
You can become saintly. So that's the idea. And Prabhupada said that's why I created ISKCON. He says it in the Nectar of Instruction, that little book, that why he created ISKCON is to give an opportunity for people to have good association with devotees of Krishna. So it's an organization where persons are devotees of Krishna and they have good qualities, hopefully. And by associating with them, one also develops those similar desires and interests and things. So yeah, our desires get influenced by the association we keep. There's a saying like that a man is known by the association he keeps. That's an old saying. A man is known by the association he keeps. So definitely we're highly influenced by association. And that can even come by, what do you watch on TV? What radio do you listen to? What newspaper, you reading the newspapers? Or one time, Prabhupada was in Mayapur with some devotees. They were on a roof because of the flat roofs in India. It's nice and cool and get a good view. And one devotee was looking at Time magazine. And Prabhupada said, just by looking at the face of one of those people in Time magazine who are enjoying their sense gratification, he said, just by looking at the face of one of those people in Time magazine, you have lost all your the results of your pious activities that you did today. all the results of your good pious deeds are gone, because it implants in us when we see these things, implants in our consciousness, in our heart, lust or greed or envy or pride or so many things. Just
even there's anger as well kills you. One day you get angry, all 30 days of your bhakti is gone. One day if you get angry with someone, anger just kills your bhakti.
Yeah, I mean, there's one or two exceptions. Like if someone is going to hurt a devotee or attack the deities or something, then of course you have to be angry.
Of course,
angry. Like Hanuman got angry against Ravan and all the Rakshasas, and that was actually said that was devotional service. But yeah, I know what you mean. If we don't get what we want, then we get angry, and that's definitely spoils our higher consciousness. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, desires are very important, and according to the desires that we have, Krishna will make the arrangements that we develop faith according to that. So we have to be very careful by what we want. And therefore, to help, like we say, mold those desires in the right way, we want to have good associations. Very important. And then, so be careful with what we see, what we hear, what we taste. So even like you associate with your tongue associates with McDonald's and KFC and Burger King is going to, mold your character, or you hear some, rock and roll music or, rap or like that kind of heavy metal or something will affect your consciousness. And, so through the senses, we're associating with different things. We're seeing and hearing and smelling and tasting and so many things.
In
So,
the time of the death, if you have any desire on the time of the death, you'll definitely come back to fulfill that desire. And the last breath of that, if you do have any desire on that time, that's what who was that? The deer. He just the little
that was Bharat.
Bharat. He just come as a deer, or
he remembered a deer when he died, and then he became a deer.
That's the thing. On time of the death, if you have got any desire,
we can look at that. We can look at that 8th chapter, text number 6, 5 and 6. Yeah, 8th chapter. It's the next chapter, text 5 and 6.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone at once attain my nature, of this there is no doubt.
And the next one
he says, whatever states of the mind one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Yeah, so the first one says,
if
one remembers Krishna when he dies, he's going to go to Krishna. So, and Krishna's in the spiritual world, so he's going to go back to God. And the next verse says, whatever you remember when you die,
that's right.
That's where you're going to go. So, like that, if you're remembering your girlfriend when you die, you're going to get, it doesn't mean you're going to go to your girlfriend, but it means you're going to get a woman's body. You're going to get and if the woman is remembering a man, then you're going to get a man's body. And Prabhupada said like that, if a Hindu dies with that feeling of hatred of Muslims, their next life going to become a Muslim. And the Muslim dies with hatred in his heart for the Hindus, next life is going to become a Hindu. So whichever ways it goes. See, our desires go two ways. Either we really like something, or we really don't like something.
Nothing in between.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's like or dislike, but that's what you're thinking about. So either you're thinking about it in a positive way, something, or you're thinking about it in a negative way. But you're thinking about it. The main point is, what are you thinking about? Whether you're thinking positively or negatively.
You not deliberately do that. It's just the nature, I guess. Because if someone comes in front of you, first thing you look at it, just take a look at it. First thing first, your mind says, is a man or woman? First thing first, you look at it, is man or woman? You're not deliberately thinking, but it happens. So it is. You can't control of it. Anyone comes in front of you, first thing you look at their gender. Whether you want to or not, but it's
well, that's going to become difficult these days because there's so many different genders. What is it? Is it what do you call it? I mean, what are the LGBT?
Yeah, it's in the election form. They're saying male, female, and there's the 3-4 other thing there in the election form. Who are you? I said, mate, come on, seriously.
So even that's very so the people's mind is so confused. Yeah. So like I said, I mean, even all this confusion, it's all coming from association. You know, people are so confused about their gender. That's all coming due to bad association. That some people are making a lot of money out of people being confused like that. And, you know, there's operations to change someone's gender. There's operations.
Yes.
Are those free operations?
Oh, no, they pay.
No, it's big bucks, mate. Big bucks.
Of course.
And all these things in modern day society, you just got to trace where the money goes. That's where you find out how it works, because it all comes back to money. You know, even to change the gender, they have to take hormone pills, right? Is that free? And that's for the rest of their life on these hormone things. You know, so that's big bucks, you know, so it's all just a money making
enjoyment. Yeah.
And they making money out of people being confused, you know.
The whole
is
country
that the kind of association we want?
Yeah. The country is a corporation. They
Yeah.
run on the profit. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, whether you fight, we have to supply the weapons, whatever, they're just corporation.
Yeah. So that's why it's said that if you want to progress in Krishna consciousness, you have to avoid the association of non-devotees, you know, as much as possible. I mean, of course, we have to interact, mix like that, you know. We are feeding everyone and we're chanting to everyone, but not closely associate with non-devotees, because you run the risk of getting their bad qualities, you know. So we try to give them, pass on the spiritual qualities, the good qualities that we have got from Prabhupada.
In order to pass
that on.
those, you need association, do you? When you pass those qualities, you need association. Then you
But
pass.
the thing is, are you giving association or are you taking it?
Definitely. We, like, whoever's strong will take over. If you're
Yeah, so before you
if you're
associate,
strong,
yes, you have to be strong. Like there's a saying, right? If you want to catch a big fish, you have to be careful not to get wet, because there's two ways it can go when you're on the boat. What are the two ways it can go when you're trying to catch the fish?
Either fish in or you're in.
Yeah. So you got to make sure that you're strong enough to bring the fish in. Otherwise, don't do it.
Because I'm connected with the, 5,000-year-old parampara. I can't be fallen there. It's not possible, because it's this one here. It cannot be, because behind me there is all the way from Prabhupada to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to all the way to Krishna. It's a very solid, rock solid. Less chance they get fallen.
There was one sannyasi, ISKCON sannyasi. He was trying to make one very materially elevated woman, very influential, powerful woman, trying to make her a devotee. Okay. But instead of making her a devotee, she made him a devotee, like that. So he lost his Krishna consciousness position. Really? Lost his position in Krishna consciousness. So it can go two ways, you know. So you have to be strong, like we're talking about faith, right? So you have to have such strong faith in Krishna consciousness.
Where the faith come from? You mentioned that faith. I believe that come from experience. For example, if you say roses are red, you say, yeah, roses are red. I've seen that. And one day you seen black rose, and somebody says, oh, roses are only red. You will say that's not true, because I already experienced it. I've seen the black rose.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't need anyone's approval.
Yeah.
So once you have that experience, nobody can shake your faith.
If you have experienced the nectar of Krishna consciousness,
nobody can shake your faith.
Like we say, the higher taste, right? So you've got the higher taste, then you're more secure. You have strong faith. But if you haven't had the higher taste, it's just theoretical, just some theoretical thing, you're just a newbie, and you just have some theoretical knowledge, but not much, realization, experience, and, having tasted, then we have to be careful. And that's why it's recommended for neophyte devotees, to be very careful with who they associate with, because, you can get pulled in the water, so very easily. So that's... But for a more advanced devotee, then they go out and preach, they go out and they interact with everybody like that. And they're very strong faith in Krishna consciousness, so they don't get shaken about by mixing with all types of people. But yeah, faith, everyone has faith, but it's not a question of whether you have faith or you don't have faith. That's not the question. The question is, what do you have faith in? Is it that if I make lots of money, I'm going to be happy? Is that what you have faith in? Or that if I, devote my life to Krishna, I'm going to be happy? But everyone has faith, and then the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, what's the title? What's the title of the 17th chapter? It's called Divisions of Faith. That's the title of the chapter. Divisions of Faith, the 17th chapter. So it's 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So the 17th chapter is called Divisions of Faith.
Division of Faith.
So what are the divisions? We know that the material world is divided into three. The whole material world, all the universe is divided into three. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance. So faith is also in three divisions. Either you have faith in the mode of goodness, or faith in the mode of passion, or faith in the mode of ignorance, like that. So like that chapter mentions, it divides everything into three, all different aspects of our life. Your worship in the mode of goodness. Worship in the mode of goodness is like worshipping demigods. Worship in the mode of passion, I think it mentions human beings. Worship human beings. And worship in the mode of ignorance is like ghosts and spirits and stuff. And food in the mode of goodness, it says food.
Yeah, you mentioned that worship, that the human. There is in Mumbai, there is a temple of Sachin Tendulkar, the cricketer. He's got a temple and a big deity. And
really?
Yes. Ask
wow.
Jayanti, probably know that.
No, she didn't know.
No, there is one temple of the Sachin Tendulkar.
Okay.
He's a great cricketer, and then people worship him. Can you believe that? No, I can't believe it.
Yeah. So like here we can look at, so yeah, everything is divided according to the modes of material nature. So everyone has faith, according to those particular modes, faith and goodness, faith and passion, faith and ignorance. So we can even look at the 17th chapter, text number 8. 8, 9, and 10 is having faith in these three different modes in regards to food. So people have faith in eating food in the mode of goodness, or they have faith.
That's why the 8 and 9 doesn't have a purport. That's why.
No, he's put it all in the purport of 10. He talks about the mode of goodness one and like that. Passion.
Foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increases the duration of life, purify one's existence, and gives strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart.
Yeah, so this is talking about vegetarian food. It's in this category, and like dairy products and grains. So this is talking about grains and dairy products and vegetarian food, fruit and vegetables. And then the next one, Bob, you want to read the next one, 9?
Yep. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods cause bitterness, misery, and disease.
Yeah, so of course we all need salt to eat, right? You can't. Food's not very palatable without salt. But if you have too much, then it goes into mode of passion.
Bitter melon is my favorite. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so some bitter helps with you digest, but it says too bitter. You'll notice it's got the word too in front of it all. So it means too much. All these are good things. These are good things. Yeah. Bitter is good, sour, salty is all good, hot, everything is fine.
Too much.
But not too much, so extreme amount. The food is too much sour or too much spicy, too much hot. That's mode of passion. And what's the result of that? Leads to distress and misery and disease, like that. And you see, like people that eat too much chilies, they get stomach ulcers. Yeah. They get stomach ulcers. So it burns out the lining of their stomach, and that's suffering. That's disease, like that. It dries up all the mucus in the body, and they get so many diseases, like that. And then number 10.
Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid. And the food consisting of food consisting of the remnant and the untouchable thing is dear to those who in the mode of darkness.
Yeah, so this is referring to meat, to eating meat. is, the untouchable things. So that's that. And also decomposed, and putrid means having a bad smell. So once the animal dies, then it starts to decompose. As soon as the animal's killed, it starts to decompose, and then bad smells come. That's called putrid. Putrid means a bad smell and decomposition. But even vegetarian food, if you eat it more than 3 hours after preparing it, that's said to be the mode of ignorance. So even vegetarian food, but then if you're eating it after, 3 days after you cooked it, that's also a mode of ignorance like that. The exception is, you cook some vegetarian food, you should offer it to Krishna within 3 hours of cooking it. You should offer it, you cooked rice and dal and sabji or whatever, you should offer it to Krishna within that 3 hours after cooking it. And then if that's sitting around for some time, but that's transcendental, because you've offered it to God, so that food has become spiritual, become sanctified. So prasadam, sometimes we see prasadam can be eaten that was cooked, some days or even weeks in some cases before, and that's not regarded as the mode of ignorance. But still, it's always best to eat food that's freshly prepared. Of course, sweets, the nature of sweets is that, that some of the sweets will last for 1 week or 2 weeks or even a month or different things like that. But a lot of foods like rice, for example, and cooked vegetables and things like that, it's always better to eat fresh. Like Prabhupada said, old rice is useless. Rice must be fresh, like that. And everything he liked
like
fresh.
a fruit you have to have it fresh. Once you cut it, you can't just leave it there. Okay, I'll eat it tomorrow, leftover. They're gonna get apple and bananas. They're gonna get
once you cut
black.
it, once you cut it, then you should have it quickly. It loses its nutrition.
Food was like, whatever the food you are, whatever look at it, you want to eat it. That would be the best food. Like fruit, you will eat straight away. You look at it, eat it. But the other things, you have to cook it, put some spices, some salt and turmeric and all, make them to eat it. So once you see straight away to eat it, that's the best one. But dal and all, you have to cook it. So fruit is the best. You have to straight away. You don't need to cook. Just peel it, cut it, offer it, eat it. That's
like previously the yogis, they didn't even used to cook.
Even
I read that recently. He said the yogis,
yes,
in the olden days, they didn't even used to cook, or they would just live from having fruits and milk, he said.
Yeah. And
what's
Lord Rama did for 14 years?
They would go to where the farmer was milking the cow, and straight after the cow was milked, they would drink some milk. So you don't even need to keep in the fridge or anything, or boil it or anything. You just straight after the cow is milked, then you just drink the milk, and then they just eat some fruits, and then that's enough. They don't even need a kitchen or cooking or anything.
They eat whatever they straight away look at it and ready to eat. That's what it is. So that's what Lord Rama did 14 years in forest.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I think we should have to live like that.
Mode of goodness, very mode of goodness.
Yes, that's the best mode of
goodness. So here I've planted more than 200 fruit trees. So we're looking forward to having lots of fruits.
So when it's going to be, some of them maybe after 2 or 3 years started giving the fruit?
We've already been having many fruits, yeah.
Okay, beautiful.
Like we've already had our own bananas, our own tropical guavas and cherry guavas, and our own apples and the peaches, plums, nectarines.
How do you protect from the bats and the birds and the bats?
No bats. We don't have bats in New Zealand. No bats.
Really? And the birds and all, they don't.
Well, we have birds and possums. Possums are a big threat. Yeah, possums are a threat.
But then possum and bird, they have to eat something anyway. Let them.
No, but we have to. That's the Vaishya. Vaishya means, you're producing food. That's your occupation. So you have to protect the things that you grow. So we have some protective measures for dealing with those. And that's just not, we don't do it as a sport or recreation, but it's just part of our job that we have to protect our livelihood. That's our livelihood. Even, you know, and Krishna was born in a village where they used to grow their own crops and also milk the cows. So the gopas, the cowherd men, they used to carry bows and arrows. So what was that for? They're just carrying it as an ornament? No, they used to use them. They used to use them. Anything that would threaten their crops or the cows, they would shoot the bow and arrow.
I didn't see any picture of the Gopas carrying the bow and arrow.
No, it's mentioned in the Bhagavatam. Yeah, they used to carry bows and arrows.
I didn't see any picture, any temple, the Gopas with the bow and arrow. I've never seen it.
They did. Even it's mentioned. I just read the story the other day. I think when Krishna was about 6 years old or something, then see where he was born in Gokul. It was called Gokul. So Krishna was being attacked by so many asuras, so many demons. So the cowherd men got together and they were saying that this is terrible, that so many demons are coming. This area is not safe anymore, that we should go to somewhere else. We should go somewhere else. So they had the idea, let's go to Vrindavan. Let's go to Vrindavan, near to Govardhan Hill. Lots of nice grass for the cows. And so they packed up all their household goods, put it on bullock carts, carried it on bullock carts. And it's mentioned there, they had the cows and that in front. And then the ladies were sitting on the carts and the children. And the men formed a full semicircle around the whole party as they were walking. And they said that they were carrying bows and arrows. So it's mentioned in many places that they did like that. So you have to protect the things that you're responsible for. Of course, you know, and you have to use whatever's available. So previously at that time was bows and arrows. Now we don't use so many bows and arrows. It's like guns and stuff like that.
Is that the Gopas aware that the Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead?
No.
Oh, okay. They're just friends. Okay.
Well, they used to love him as their like their child. They all the older ones used to see Krishna as their child, as the most beautiful child. And they were very protective of him, very protective. And those that were the same age of Krishna was thinking Krishna's my best friend. They used to see Krishna as my most wonderful friend. And the women used to see, the girls used to see Krishna as my lover.
Yeah.
My paramour, my lover. It's like that. Only, yeah, in Vrindavan, you know, Krishna's Yoga Maya stopped anyone from realizing that he's God, because that would spoil that intimate, sweet, loving relationship. Because immediately you think Krishna's God, you're going to be all awe and reverence.
That's right.
God, Krishna's so great. God is so great, like that. So it becomes more formal. The relationship goes more formal, but then the sweetness goes down. The more there's awe and reverence, the more the awe and reverence goes up, then the sweetness goes down. If the awe and reverence goes down, then the sweetness can come up. So Krishna likes that sweetness. In other places, like in the Vaikuntha planets, where the Lord has 4 arms, those relationships is all awe and reverence. It's all awe and reverence. But on Krishna's planet, that's the only planet where there's this very sweet relationships, where the devotees are not aware that he's God, like that. So Krishna enjoys that. So anyway, why we went over to this chapter was just to talk about faith, because that's what where we're at now, is talking about how the super soul gives everyone faith to worship some particular person according to the faith that they have. So let's go back to the verse today. 7:21. So yeah, that faith that we all have in whatever it is comes from God, comes from Krishna in our heart, gives us faith. We have strong faith in being a vegetarian. That comes from Krishna. Someone has strong faith in being a meat eater. That also comes from Krishna in the heart. You know, like that. Someone has strong faith in the politicians, you know, or like that, or the demigod. So this is all given by Krishna according to the desire. So why does Krishna give someone faith in eating meat? Because that's what their desire is. They have a desire to eat flesh.
Krishna gave a free will.
Yeah, Krishna's giving free will. So if you have a desire to eat, blood and flesh and rotten things, then, Krishna will give you faith in that. And so that's the free choice. And yeah. Let's look at a couple verses in the Bhagavad Gita that talk about the super soul, because this is what we're on now. So one of them is 18th chapter, text 61. So someone might say, well, okay, you've just told us the super soul's in everyone's heart. So what does he do there? What is God doing in our heart? So this is looking at it. What is he doing there? What's his purpose? What's his function? What's God's function in our hearts? Okay.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wandering of all living entity who are seated as on machine made of the material energy.
Yeah. So one interesting thing here, this body is compared to a yantra. Yantra means machine. This body is a machine. But as you know, can a machine function by itself?
No.
No, it's an operator behind it.
It needs an operator behind it. So who's the operator? It's the super soul. The super soul is the operator. Super soul is the operator. And you might say, well, the soul is the operator. But no, that's not what it's saying here. So even we are the soul, but even we are not the operator. Actually, he's the driver. Just like Krishna was driving Arjuna's chariot, which is chariot's a machine, right? So in the same way, Krishna is the super soul. He's driving our chariots. This body is like a chariot, as a machine, So the super soul is directing the wanderings of all the living entities. So his position is very important, because you can't do anything in your machine, in your yantra, your body, without Krishna's help. So, I have a desire to scratch my nose, but I'm not going to be able to get there unless the super soul helps me. Or I want to put food in the mouth. But mate, unless God helps you, you can't do it. Or I want to walk from A to B, or I want to talk. I'll tell you what, it's amazing. I was asked to give a talk the other day on humility, and I wanted to mention this story, but I didn't get time. But I'd given a class in a temple, on one morning class, and the devotees really liked the class, and they came up to me afterwards and said that was a brilliant class and everything like that. And then I think it inflated my head. And as Bob said last time, the ego, I had a problem with ego. So I think that created an ego problem for me, a false ego, and I became proud. I became proud that I'm a very good speaker, I'm a good talker, I know a lot and stuff. And then one of the guys that was in the class, he invited me to his house that night to give another class. And so I agreed. I went along there. And often before a class, you sing a song. So I sung, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. And then it was time to start the class. So I opened my mouth, and you know what came out?
Nothing.
It was just empty head.
Speechless.
Like nothing there. And that's exactly what this is saying, that the super soul is controlling everything in this body. He's directing us and arranging everything. Our functions of eating and breathing and moving and talking and everything, moving the arms and the legs, and that's all. He's controlling it all. He's the operator. And if he wants, he can turn it off, so that the talking part doesn't work, and we know that, right? What do you call it if someone can't talk? What do we call that kind of person? There's a name for people that can't talk. It's called dumb. Dumb, right? What do you call it, people that can't walk? Lame, right? What do you call it, people that can't hear?
Deaf.
What do you call it, people can't see?
Blind.
And we think, oh, it's all by chance or whatever like that. No, mate, I'm sorry. It's Krishna's, the operator's turned off that part, mate. And what do you call it, that when the body falls down, doesn't get up again?
Dead body.
Dead. That's also, the operator has turned off all the switches. It's like that. Then that's it. The machine is into the scrap pile, like that. So if we know this, have this knowledge that God's in our heart and He's in control of it. This body is completely under His control. Then that's very purifying. That's very humbling, isn't it? Because what do we think? What do we think right now? We think that we're in control.
We think we are the doer.
We are the doer. We think
Right.
we're the doer. And that's what the real meaning of ahankar, false ego. The word for false ego in Sanskrit is called ahankar. So that comes from two words. Aham means I. And kar comes from karta, the word karta, K-A-R-T-A. So ahankar or karta. So karta means doer. So we think I'm doing it. I'm controlling. I'm the one walking and talking and eating and seeing and hearing and smelling and everything. But no, it's actually the super soul is doing all of these things. And we're just observing. We're just the observer, but we think we're the one doing it. We're the one controlling it.
We're the only instrument.
Abhay, sorry, did you say ahamkar means ego? What did you say it means?
The word, the Sanskrit word for false ego. See, ego means, in the English word ego means self. So people say, oh, I've got too much ego, or I need to get rid of my ego. But you can't get rid of your ego, because ego means who you are. That's the I.
You wouldn't comb your hair if you didn't have ego, would you?
Yeah, ego means yourself. So you don't want to get rid of yourself or like that. But so what the Vedas say, they say false ego. That's what you want to get rid of. So you want to get rid of the false sense of who you are, the false sense of self. You don't want to annihilate, destroy yourself, but you want to get rid of the false self. So what is the false self? The false self, which in Sanskrit is called ahankar. A-H-A-N-K-A-R. Ahankar. So that is broken into two words. A-H-A-M. Aham means I. And kar, which comes from the root word of that is karta, K-A-R-T-A. So karta means doer. So that means I am the doer. So when you think I am the doer, that is ahankar. That is false ego. So that's what we want to get rid of that. And by understanding that we're not doing it, we're not in control. We're not the doer or the controller. That the super soul, that God is He is the doer. He is the controller. So we got to get rid of this illusory this illusory idea that we're like God. We're in control. We're not in control. We're not God. God is in control. We're not in control. We're helpless. We're so tiny, so helpless, so insignificant, and we are fully depending on him. So it's very important to have this understanding of God as the super soul, that he's actually doing everything, controlling everything. So there's many verses in the Bhagavad Gita that talk about the super soul. What's another one that we can look at? 13th chapter, text 22. Not what did I say? 22. Yeah, 13th chapter, text 22. 22, and then no, 23. 23.
Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as overseer and permitter, and who is known as super soul.
So in the previous verse said, in this body the soul is there. So that's in 22, that the soul is there. And then it says, yet in this body there is another. So there's two living entities in the body. So one living entity is an individual soul, that's us. And then the other living entity is the transcendental living entity, the super soul, is also in the body. And what is his position? That his position is that he's completely transcendental, means above the material world. He's not a conditioned soul like us. He's always enjoying. He's the transcendental enjoyer, and he is the Lord. So he's the controller. He's the Lord. He's proprietor, means he owns everything. Proprietor means he's the owner. So he owns everything, so therefore he's the enjoyer of everything. He controls everything. And what is he doing? So he exists there within the body as the overseer and the permitter. The overseer and the permitter. So in the Sanskrit, it's upadrasta namanta cha. So overseer means he's the witness. So what is the super soul doing? Why is he there in the heart? He's witnessing. What is he witnessing? It comes back to what we're talking about. All of our desires. He's seeing everything that Bob wants, everything that Gulshan, everything that Abai Jayanti wants. He's witnessing. He's observing everything we want. And then the next part of it, after he's seeing what you want, he's the permitter. Okay? He's the one giving the sanction. Okay, Bob wants this. Okay, I'll tick it off. Okay, Bob wants that. No, I'm not going to give him that. So permitting means he can give the permission or he cannot give the permission. That's within his control, right? Now, in what cases does he give permission? And what cases does he not give permission? That's important to know.
If he knows it's good for Gulshan, he give it permission. If he thinks that it's not good for me, he won't give it.
That's if you're a devotee, yeah.
Oh, well, I'm trying to be.
Yeah. But if you're not a devotee, it's if you've got the karma, if you've got, good karma in your pocket, then you'll get the permission. If you don't have the good karma, if you've got bad karma in your pocket, then you don't get the permission. I'll give you an example. You have a desire to get a BMW, but you've only got $1,000 in your bank account, then you're not going to get it. You might get a broken down 1985 model Toyota Corolla, like that. So, but if you've got $500,000 in your pocket and you desire the BMW, then you can get it. So it means if you've got the good credit and your karmic bank balance, if you've got the You've done the pious activities. You've done the good pious activities, and you've got that stock of good karma. Then the super soul will give you the permission.
But sometimes, if you are not have enough, but still Krishna gives you mercy, you can have it, because he's an ocean of mercy. If you really desire something and you don't have any efforts in there or enough there, but Krishna will fulfill that.
But
he will
only for the devotees. That's only for the devotees. Everyone else, he's dealing with very formally.
Oh my.
Just very formally. Everyone gets exactly what they deserve. There's a Christian saying, right? Or is it a Christian saying? What is it? What does it say? First deserve, then desire. First deserve, then desire. And then the other saying is, man proposes, God disposes. You would have heard that one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man proposes, God disposes. So that's a very interesting one, and it lines up with this. So man proposes, what does that mean? Proposes means, desires. So the person desires, and God disposes, what does that mean? Disposes means, he gives it to you. So you desire, and then he gives it to you. But we would like to add more detail to that. Okay, you desire, and he'll give it to you if you are eligible. If you are eligible, if you have like I said, the good credit. You have to be qualified. If you are eligible and qualified to get it, then he'll dispose it. But if you don't have the eligibility, then he won't dispose it. He won't give it. So that's otherwise, everyone desires to be rich, right? Everyone. There's no one that desires to be poor. But why are some people poor? Did you ever think about that? It's not. Do you think poor people don't have any desires to be rich? Of course they do. They have the same desire to be rich as the rich people. But some people became rich people, and some people never become rich people. They're always poor people. So what happened? Everyone's got the same desire. So why didn't some become rich? Because their karma.
Yes.
See, those people that became rich, they've got some, in the past, they've done some very, pious, good deeds.
1 hour thing. Prabhuji, 1 hour thing, remember?
Okay, let's sign out then. Sign out and sign back in then.
Yeah, that's right.